Hey, so what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and first off, I apologize for the lack of professionalism with this video. I'm actually recording this with my phone right here because I do not have my DSLR with me or any other mic as I'm visiting the parents at the moment while recording this. I'll be back home, once I upload this and everything, but I want to show you all this custom Xbox 360 I made. This was a few years ago. This is for my brothers, and as you can see, it's not in the best condition, but I'm going to explain that. So about 2 years ago, I made this for them. Now, on the inside here, it is I believe, a 512 or 256. It's a big block Jasper motherboard, and I installed the R-JTAG chip in it. So I believe it's a 1.0 R-JTAG inside of there, and it's on one of the previous dashboards. It hasn't been updated in about 3-4 months, something like that. But no, I ended up getting this for them because I wanted to give them a system that was modified. They already had a flashed Xbox because, they're younger, they wreck their games, all that stuff. But I wanted to use something that didn't use discs, and I wanted to kind of put an extra spin on it. So I actually originally picked up this Xbox for less than $10. It worked, and it did not have a working or matching DVD drive. So to do that, I ended up RJ-tagging it. First ever RJ-tag I ever did, and the boot times were pretty good on it, and it was a really good build. So what I did was I gave it a whole new case, I cleaned it up, I put a new disk drive in there, closed it all up, and it was good to go. The thing is, though, I didn't want to sell it because it was such a good build, but I also didn't want to keep it around because, it was useless to keep it around because I had so many. So what I ended up doing was I ended up just completely customizing it for them, and I didn't want to give them a plain white Xbox either because they already had one of those, so I kind of wanted to put a personal touch on it. So first off, as you can see, there is the Sonic Team logo right there with Sonic the Hedgehog's head. I put that on there just because, they like Sonic, and that was the theme that I went with on this. I wanted to do like an old school retro type theme, but at the same time, I kind of explained it to friends, and they thought it was awesome when I was making it. But I had told them I want to do something where it's like, let's say you walk into Sega headquarters and you just look on someone's desk and they have something like this. Of course, it will be much better, but I want this to be something that could almost pass as official. So what I did was the blue, so it has the blue case all around it, and then I decided not to paint the white button, and then I used a white face bezel and all that stuff for the disk drive. Then on the side right here, these were originally gray, of course, and I almost kept them gray, but they didn't look that good. So I decided to spray paint the hard drive caddy itself and the side bezels right here white. So overall, you have a white and blue theme, just like Sonic the Hedgehog. So this is pretty much all I did, right? So as I said, I refurbished the system, fixed it up, put the RJ-tag chip inside of it, programmed it so that, and got everything dialed in just right so that it has really great boot times, and then flashed the disk drive as well too. So the disk drive has Light Touch 3 on it, and then there's also a 500 gigabyte hard drive in there. This is before you could, just put an official one on, but this is a 500 gig hard drive that I filled up with like all their games and all that other stuff so they can install anything over that they want to, and then this right here, so there were a few things because what was it? Was it the Sonus? No, it was the Sonus. So I'll show you all that in a bit, but there's a Sonus 360 in there, and that means even though this is a fat model, if you hit the eject button or the power button, it'll make noise, which I'll play for you all in a bit here when I go and hook it up. So it does those two, which I programmed in. So I got the Sonus from Johnny Guns, that was a few years ago, and then one of my good friends, Tyler, actually helped out with this. I'd already painted this. I told him what I wanted to do, and I trust his artistic abilities a lot more than mine. So what he did was, I don't even remember what I paid him, but I think I paid him with a favor or something like that. But he was able to, stencil out Sonic and then paint him on there and all that stuff. So this used to look a little bit better, and then I also, was it not Placid Dip? No, but I put a clear coat on there so, it stays shiny and all that. Now, I don't like shiny systems, I don't. But a lot of people recommended use clear coat on a system that you spray paint because it'll keep it nice and fresh and everything. And I have to say I'm quite glad I did. As you can see right here, there's a lot of scratches, a lot of dings on it, and it really doesn't affect the actual system itself. And that's just because of, normal wear and tear, and, people just, putting things on it, all that stuff. And the only damage it's really sustained has been right here on the little lip for the USB ports. The paint is chipped off a little bit. And then right here, this is actually not my brother's fault or my fault. That is Tyler's fault. There was one night he came to my apartment, And, oh, and there's some chipping right here. But he came to my apartment one night. He wanted to see how well this was looking because I just painted all this stuff a few hours before, right? And he looks at the faceplate, and I don't know why, but he decides to push in one of these memory units, and the thing popped off. And I got mad at him for it because I'm like, dude, I just worked on that. It was in perfect condition, and you broke it, and he knew about it. So this was his fault right there. But, you know, he also did that for me, so he made up for that. So that's really all there is to it right here. So as I say, you know, kind of going over big block Jasper R-JTAG on the inside, super fast boot times, 500 gigabyte hard drive, flash disk drive. I don't remember if it's a BenQ or Lite-On. I think it's a BenQ, but really the only time they use their disk drive is if they get a new game and they put the disk in once, they install it over, they never use the disk again. So everything is on there. Aside from that, it's been a really reliable system, and they've all enjoyed it and everything. So there's kind of side bezel on that as well too. I'll go ahead and show you all the hookup on there as well, so you could see, you know, how fast it boots up, the sounds, and also I did a little LED mod as well there too. So let's check that out. All right, now we're over at the system itself right here, which I turned on because one disclaimer right here, I'd actually completely forgotten about this because, you know, it's been 2 years since I've worked on this, and I've worked on plenty of Xboxes. The disk drive has kind of an issue where it sticks sometime. Now, I could fix this up. I'm kind of lazy, so I probably won't with that, and they really don't care too much. But it sticks maybe because of dust, but most likely due to the fact that this kind of happens with spray-painted systems. I notice if you do that, the disk drive can stick, so you could probably kind of go in there and, you know, clean it up a bit, but I just never did that. So go ahead, turn that off, and you all got a little spoiler of that. So, you know, turning on right here. If you don't recognize that where it's from, you should be ashamed of yourself. You call yourself a gamer. But let's also check out the LEDs right here, if we can, maybe. There we go. And see, that's about the longest the boot time takes on there. So I originally did all those colors because I'd actually just got my Nexus 4 at the time, and those were the colors for the boot up screen whenever you booted up the phone. So you turn that off, and then let's go ahead and try Zell right here, and you'll also hear this noise. As you can see, the disk drive has some issues there. And yeah, it took, what, like 2-3 seconds to boot into Zell. And that's how it looks. And there I'm just doing that. Now, if you don't recognize that sound, it's because the Sonos is honestly not a good speaker at all. And you have to heavily compress the sound on there. That is supposed to be the sound of Sonic picking up a coin. So you have the coin chime, and then you have the old school Sega sound right there. Now, the funny thing is, I talked with Johnny about this when I did it. The coin, I'm still disappointed at how it sounds, but when it comes to the actual Sega, it's a little sound effect right there, because it was so, you know, pixelated, it didn't sound very good, you know, in the original game that it was shown, like Sonic 2 or something like that. It kind of works in its favor, because, as I said, this is a crappy speaker in there. The 16-bit distortion and retro effect of it actually plays in the favor really well. So the Sega sound really sounds authentic and awesome. Coin sound does not, but I digress. It still sounds pretty nice. Like, it's still a pretty neat feature to have. So yeah, for anybody who might have been wondering or who wanted to see this video again who did not know about it, this is what I did for my brothers. This is the first and the last Xbox. Well, no, I've customized some other ones before, but this is the last Xbox 360 that I completely customized. The first one I've ever done to this extent, and it was really fun. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't super hard either, and it was definitely fun to do, and especially great to see, you know, their faces and their reactions when they saw it. Like, they couldn't believe that this was going to be for them. They thought that I was just letting them borrow it, but I was like, no, this is your new Xbox now. So their other flash system they had is now my own system, my personal system that I use whenever I visit the family, and then this is their own system, and it stays offline and all that, but they just play locally, so it really doesn't matter too much. But yeah, again, R-JTAG big block system, Sonic the Hedgehog themed, custom LEDs, custom sound thanks to Johnny, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog customization thanks to Tyler, and then 500 gigabyte hard drive slapped on there. So yeah, great system. Only thing I've ever told them, and I told my family, I said the condition with me giving this to you all is you never, ever, ever, ever sell it or give it to anyone. And if for some reason you need to get rid of it, you give it to me. Because I said I worked way too hard for them to make a profit off of this. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario, signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed this video, even though it wasn't the best quality-wise, but hope you all still enjoyed it. Oh, and I also wanted to show you all before I completely conclude this video. the disk drive does actually open. It doesn't like to open when it's standing vertical, but you put the system down horizontal like it should be right here, and it seems to work mostly fine. So it is kind of slow opening and exiting, but aside from that, the thing does work. Alright, signing off for real this time. Later, everyone.